was when it CTS hates was cry.
It's upside down. You're reading it upside down.
Hey, but you read it better than me.
You're doing this with this cuts. What was he doing with this guys was course on the course and what it says.
He has no idea that's in German, just for the record. Alright, so what are we doing here, honey?
We are starting the senator. We're starting building the senator.
Okay.
And this is the, if you remember from the other video, this is the one that we were sent to do a
Review, I believe is the term.
So.
Okay, so a couple things. What we're doing here is Hope is pinning down some wax paper. I went through the 1/8 inch longerons. Let me get around this side. The 1/8 inch longerons that are supplied with this. And I selected the 4 stiffest ones, the hardest ones. You can just do that. I mean, you can feel them. You can see it. It bends a little bit, as opposed to these. They don't really bend so much. So we'll, yeah, there's a significant difference between those and the rest of them. One thing I did notice, they supply you with a lot of thinner strip wood, which in every place is labeled as 1/16. Let me set that beside there. That's not 1/16. So what they did is they updated the wing spars to 3/32, which is I'm not entirely opposed to that, because I own a Senator and I blew out the wing spars in that on several occasions, flying it in the wind. So frankly, for the wings, either you need to web the spars or beef them up, or you're going to fold the wings if you try to actually fly this thing in serious conditions. It's a reality. I know a lot of people get away with it. I can't. So, good idea, Ripmax. Just make sure you annotate it on the plans. Hope you just sat on one of them.
Sorry.
And somehow it survived. Whoopsies. So, anyway, that's just a little ding on my in my concern in terms of clarity in the kit. But it works. I agree with the idea. Just wish it were annotated in the plans. So anyway, we'll come back when we've got a little bit more done. Unless you had anything else you were going to say.
No.
Okay. All right. Explain to us what you're doing here.
So what I normally do is I gotta cut the uprights and then the cross pieces. So normally, so I can keep them in order, I normally lay some tape down, and then you just, as you cut them, you just lay both pieces right there, and so then when you go back to build, they're just right there for you, and you just go in order, and so that way it's easy to build it out.
Yeah, so this is a technique that I taught her, and she seems to like it. So what we do, you're gonna have to build 2 fuselage sides, and a lot of people will build cut out all the bits to build one side, and then go back and cut out all the bits to build the other side. And so what she's doing is she's pre-cutting everything, so that once she's ready to go, she builds both sides of the fuselage right on top of each other, and so they are identical. Other than little build errors, all of the parts are identical, so that eliminates any build error from copying things. So just gives you a quicker, more painless build. Well, who'd they play today?
They play.
No, did Clemson win?
When it comes in course.
Oh, of course they won? Okay, alright. Okay, so show us what we got here.
So I finished out the 2 sides here. As you can see, they're just built one on top of the other. That's just the way that I build. So it was all the pieces mashed up exactly like they did on the plans. So
And here's just a look at that so you can see. They've got the real nice laser cut gussets for your wing hold downs.
Yeah.
Everything looks good back here. Parts fit is A+. Any surprises on the plans or anything? The instructions? What?
Not so far. It's been a pretty, I mean, they have everything pretty well clearly marked. So it's just, you know, put down the pieces, and so so far it's been a pretty easy build, just following the plans.
All right. My take on it, since I've built a Senator before, established design, so, you know, it's one of those things that I can't, well, I wouldn't say there's not a whole lot to mess up. I mean, it's an updated plan. It's not the original plan, so they, you know, they've updated things to fit with what Ripmax has in stock with a laser cut kit. But I have not found any mistakes so far that I've seen. So yeah, the instructions are very clear. About as I'd say on par with anything that I've seen out there. So so yeah, it's a good kit so far. As far as my opinion on it, you know, good airplane. So yeah, that's. I'm going in circles here, so I'm going to stop.
So the glue is dry now, and so we've taken it off, and we're going to split the two sides apart so we can start building the cross piece, putting the cross pieces in.
And just tell us what you're doing here.
So basically what I'm doing is gently trying to cut these apart. And
that one's being stubborn.
sometimes
You got to be a little careful because it is a, you know, you're having to run a razor blade in here and do this. If you follow the instructions and put saran wrap in, it's no biggie. But
on the directions it does say that you're supposed to put some kind of.
That's too fancy for us.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, we got everything separated. Had a few dry, kind of meh glue joints at the back, which is, you know, that happens. And the result was we had to hit those with some CA. So explain what you're doing here. Don't do it up there because it curves up. So you want to do it here.
Okay. So now you take the two sides and you take it on your down view.
Top view, something like that.
Sorry, top
view.
view.
It says right there when your arm's not in the way. Top view of fuselage.
So then you just kind of.
So I'm going to give you some grief over that.
You just kind of pin it down, so that way you can put your cross pieces in.
I'm sure there are, well, I'm not, lots of people are really OCD about getting this type of thing just right, and have all these angle braces and whatnot. We don't do that nonsense here. This is not scale modeling central. We make it work. And in fact, this is a rare moment of high precision for us, pinning the fuselage sides down onto the board, because normally I just stick it together in the air, and so does Hope, and they come out straight enough. So, you know, is what it is. But we'll come back once we got the second side pinned in place. Right. So we're going to start with this one.
The bottom one?
Yeah, just the bottom.
Top?
No, do the bottom. We're just doing this the fast way because we can. This is called the redneck way to build fuselages. Nah, this isn't the redneck way. This is, I mean, we've actually got it pinned down here. And my wife is refusing. What we're doing at this point is we've got a pin right here and one on the other side. And so if you're using a slow acting glue, that's what you want to do to get that in there and try to get it lined up as good as possible. Actually, I'm going to try and intervene here, because that one came misaligned. Again, does not matter. On an endurance model, if you're flying competitively, that does not matter a hill of beans. The thing is, does the airplane fit together enough to fly? Sure. So we got this one and this one in the bottom. And so what we do typically is try to get a 4-point attachment. So we're going to put the next cross piece in the top that pertain to that same station. And I may have to hit this with some accelerator. Kick this side forward a little bit. And I'm trying to do this one-handed nonsense again. Alright. Just get going. Yeah, that's good. And okay, sorry, I was helping hit that with accelerator. Because this glue dries kind of, it's Gorilla CA. Normally it dries super fast, but it's being sluggish today. So, and that's mostly square. It's straighter than mine is, because there were all kinds of issues with my Senator. I say that. It looked actually pretty good. Looks. But looked, not looks. It does not currently look good, because it's been beat up and all that. Alright. And so I'm dipping out some CA. Slide
Not
it
some
this
CA.
way. There you go. That's good. Not that much.
You're dipping
Just try to build your plane straighter than mine, because yeah, that looks good. And so at this point, all you have to do, the instructions say doing something of this nature, and then clamp the tail back here, and then insert all the cross pieces in. Up front, one of the things you want to pay attention to is you've got this sheet fill that goes in here, and so these are different lengths, and the reason for that is this one goes kind of level, and this one is sloped down, so this piece needs to be a little bit longer up at the top, because you've got the same horizontal spacing. So good old Pythagorean theorem and all that.
But, I mean, this is marked here which one goes the top and which one goes on the bottom, so.
Everything's very clearly marked, which is way better than the original plans. So, that was back when you had to figure it out for yourself. So, there we go. Okay. Looking pretty good. Nice and straight. So that's just kind of where things are. Just a bunch of CAing stuff together at this point. Okay, tell us what you got.
Okay, so I have just finished up doing all the cross pieces, as you can see.
And the sheeting too.
And the sheeting.
Comments on parts fit.
I had a little bit of trouble getting the N2 in there, just because it's a very, very tight fit, and ended up breaking these two cross pieces trying to get it in there. But the one on the bottom fit very well. It went straight in, no problems. So just to kind of give you a heads up about that. But everything else went together very quickly and very easily. So
one thing I'll mention is when you're doing this, with the way that these are set up, you're cutting your own cross pieces, and then you're putting a laser cut part in here. And so if you have any error in the sizing of these parts, then this nice laser cut part's not going to fit. So it's entirely possible that this is exactly the perfect size, and Hope made a mistake. I mean, I've I do too. It's you're eyeballing a set of cuts. So you know, just stuff to be aware of when you're assembling this. Minor issues, really. Let me see a second here, because I want to take a look. So the weight is very reasonable. I mean, it's not going to be a super light build. It's British design, so it's going to be built a little bit beefy. Sorry guys, y'all build heavy over there. For good reason, it's windier over there. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing. So at some point I'm going to have to dig mine out so we can do a side-by-side. So, okay, so we are in a nose block versus wing trailing edge scenario thingamabobber here. So they say to make your nose block from these 1/8 by 3/8 pieces, which is the same size as you use for your wing and stab trailing edges. Now, first thing is this one is considerably softer than these, so it's going to be reserved for the stab. But you only have 3 of these, and so you don't want to use them up. So one thing we can do is we can cut this one to size, use the scrap off of it, and then this one for the 2 outer panels, and use the scrap off of it. So you want to cut those kind of to size, and then use those pieces to make your nose block. Now, one other thing I'm going to mention as we're getting into this, there are 2 changes from the original plans. They show to actually block up your trailing edge, you get that smooth curve with your airfoil. The original Senator plans just have you lay the trailing edge flat. And we're probably going to do that because the original works fine, and it's easier, and we're lazy because, you know, whatever. The other thing is they show that you're supposed to notch the trailing edge for each of those ribs. So we're going to have to make a little tool for doing that and doing it accurately, because that's something you can do that by hand, kind of guessworking it, but it is way easier if you have a little tool for it. But that means that what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut these to size. We're going to have to mark them for those, and then sand the little notches in. And so that is a little more on the challenging side. This is where we get into a debate. Is that or is that not necessary? The original Senator plans show to do it, so it's per the original plans. That said, I personally feel like with a 32-inch wingspan airplane, personal opinion here, I don't think it's necessary. I did it on mine because the plans said to do it. So take that for what it's worth. Not very much. But is there something you want to say?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of what we're going to do next. Just want to point out that there is a little potential pitfall there. I think the order of the instructions probably gets it right. I'll have to check on that. We'll comment on that later. So, okay. So, said we were going to do a spar notching, or not spar, rib notching tool, or trailing edge notching tool. There we go. For Hope's Senator. I'll need it probably for the Gypsy as well. So I've got a piece of, I think this is, it's 1/32. Doesn't really matter. Point is, it's about 3/4 of an inch wide, cross grain, and then I've got a piece of 1/16 square right here, and find me a bottle of CA. So I've got Gorilla CA. Pair of scissors over here and some sandpaper. So let's see if I can set this in a way that will let you see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take my sandpaper and I'm going to throw my mouse on the ground. Good job. Here we go. So I'm going to snip this to give me basically a 1/16 wide strip of sandpaper. And yes, I just totally eyeballed that. So shoot me. I've been doing this a while. On the floor, of course. Alright, so we've got fairly aggressive grit sandpaper here, just a strip of it. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to take this 1/16 square strip and I'm going to glue this on here. I need to get more CA, I'm running low. Oh well. Welcome to the way we mess things up at J&H Aerospace with our rednecking of everything and running on short supplies. Alright, and here we go. Alright, so after I trim this to size, I'll show you what I've done. You can see I've just glued the strip of wood right there like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of sandpaper, which turns out to be actually a little narrower than 1/16, but that's okay. It actually will, that won't make much of a difference at all. And I'm going to, I'll show you what I'm doing before I glue it on. I'm going to glue it on the top of that strip of 1/16. So, there's stuff with sticky tape. It's a mess around here. We've been cranking out kits for particularly proteges and senior flyers for the Science Olympiad crowd. We've been cranking those out like it's no tomorrow. Thank you to our customers. Anyway, so now I've got that on there. Alright, so it's glued on like so. See that? Hope that makes sense. This will probably, this must be a standalone video, but it's also going to appear in Hope's Senator thread here. So depending on what context you're watching this in, it's because we're doing a review for Ripmax with their kits. Very, very high quality stuff. And battery's yelling at me, so I'm going to quickly show you this. What you do is you run this back and forth. Now you have a perfect 1/16 square notch. Pretty cool, huh? See y'all later.
So welcome back. In the last video you saw Josh made this handy dandy little tool for us that basically makes the notches in our trailing edge, and so that way when we go to put the ribs in, they're already notched there. And so basically what I've been doing is, as you can see, I marked where the ribs are supposed to be, and so I just take the little tool, put it, you know, make sure it's right over that line, and just start sanding away until basically until it's, you know, flat there, right on the trailing edge. So then you just go to the next one and do the same. So this way you just make sure that each one that you do is exactly the same. So that way you have it even. I did this is for the wing. I've already done the stab, as you can see.
I picked this is a very, very lightweight piece of wood, so we use that one for the stab. Figured that'd be more appropriate.
And then I'm saving the pieces that I cut off, so that way when I make the nose block, I can use the pieces that I cut off for that. So. Oh, hi! Thanks for joining us. We've decided that there's two different ways that you can taper the leading edges, or sorry, the trailing edges of these. You can either do it as we're doing ahead of time, where you're planing it into the taper shape.
I'll actually show it on camera. Let's try this in. Here we go. This is just a test piece that we were practicing on. So that kind of cross section Because you don't want the rectangle, which is like that, because that's not very aerodynamic.
You can do that way, or you can wait until after you built it all out and then sand in the taper into the stab and the tailplane and the wing.
Which takes forever compared to if you have a good razor plane. You can do this in, like, I think I did this in 4 passes, 5. So we'll go ahead and
we will continue that, and then we'll come back.
It is.
and you end up with a whole bunch of these little curls like that. You see we've got a stab trailing edge here ready to go, and a wingtip, and Hope's just finishing up that last bit.
This is for the main.
Yep. And this is your stab leading edge that she has set out here. I think that's what that is, or is it just a leftover?
I think it was just a leftover.
Okay, well then I'll shut up.
But yes, that's exactly what it was. Okay, so we have started making the wing, which I may need to move some things so you can see it a little better. Here we go. I will say, whoever cut these, did the laser cutting on these, you did an awesome job. All I had to do basically was cut the tabs that kept them in, and they popped right out. So kudos to you, because I know that is very hard since we make laser cut kits. There's times that there's another place, someplace else that doesn't quite go all the way through, but this time they did very well. So.
She's just fussing at me because I give her the scrap kits to cut from that don't cut right.
Most of the time, yes. But, so I cut all of these are the wing ribs right here. I have installed the center ones. Make sure that when you put it in, I always forget this. This goes in at an angle, because of how they do these. See, they're kind of...
It's called a fish mouth rib.
Fish mouth. The purpose of it is keeps it from warping, am I correct?
Actually, it gives you since you've got this angle like that, it gives you more surface area of the spar that's captured by the rib. In theory, it's easier to shape because all you have to do is just round off the front of it instead of completely rounding the entire thing. But yeah. Take that for what it's worth.
So, I also cut out the gussets for the center section.
And you'll notice she cuts the spar and the trailing edge a little bit long, and then you trim that to size afterwards.
So I'll show you installing. This is, I'm going to put this one in this edge. So
it locks into the front, and then you see it slides into this slot in the back. You get a real nice result. Alright, well, once we get more in there, we'll check back in.
So right now I'm just finishing up the last few, putting in the last few ribs of the wing. If you look on the center section, I also put in the gussets. I haven't done it for the tips yet, but did put it in this other. Okay, so we have installed all the ribs, and let me get that out of the way. Yes, thank you.
The glue caddy is here.
And now we are going to do the tips. So for the ribs,
For the ribs have tips.
the wings, whatever. So we need the T's. So you need T1, T2, T3, and T4. So just cut them out.
Yeah, she's cheating here. She already popped them out.
I already popped them out. Just
This is totally fake. This is fake news.
Just because I wanted to pre-fit them together to make sure everything worked.
Fake news.
Whatever. So. Oops.
Yeah, you can't do that from a reclining position.
Nope. I gotta get up here.
I'm actually going to step in here because she has not pondered what the one issue with these is. So this is where you actually have a little challenge, is every model airplane plan I have ever encountered, including my own, there is no accommodation put in for the fact that you've got this angle back here on these when you do fish mouth ribs and whatnot. So this is just supposed to magically, fit here. And this is not an indictment against Ripmax or anybody else. It's purely a matter of there's simply nothing there. Now, the way that this plan is drawn, they have kind of accounted for you to just do a butt joint up against this, and I think you'll actually compromise a few things otherwise. But the bottom line is you have to put a piece of 1/16 or something underneath this to hold it in place, or you can CA it and then come in with the other stuff. But you've got to basically center that edge along here. And somebody's going to say, well, that's not very strong. Well, it's not like it experiences a lot of stress either. So anyway, that's my little rant about 1950s aircraft structures. So I'll shut up now.
So we will.
She's just going to ignore me anyway.
Yeah.
So much hate. I may step in anyway because it messes with my sensibilities.
What?
It messes with my sensibilities. My son is trying to start his singing career in the background. Okay, honey, you don't have to, just punch it through. So what you want to do is push this up against there, and then there you go. Now you can push this flat up against there, but my wife is being OCD and wants it exactly as it's on the plans. I have no such compunctions.
If it's your airplane, you can do it.
I will, thank you. And I did, since I own one of these. Except the parts were much more poorly cut out. Because I cut them out. I'm hearing mumbling in the background. I'm hearing a great deal of hate. Alright. I'm going to step in and say, let's see here. Is there a piece of 1/16? No. Let's see. I have this giant scrap heap. Hey, if anybody wants my giant scrap heap of balsa, I used to like save every tiny scrap of wood because I always needed it. And now I have this giant scrap heap of wood that just is everywhere. Alright, so what you want to do is stick this under here to elevate it up. And then you want to keep doing that out here under this part. And this just gives you a better, neater, tidier result. So I can fix where I just kicked it apart. And I would actually pin the leading edge, but leave the other thing just floating there. And there you go. Quick and dirty wingtips or something or another. Nah, whatever. What are your thoughts? How badly have I interfered with your life? Hi, I'm Josh Finn. This is Hope. We are J&H Aerospace.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
Also, how about subscribe to our channel and check out jhaerospace.com for new free flight products and all of the tooling that you'll need to build them.
Thanks for watching.